What's up? We are
Hey.
back with
Back.
episode number 270.
270. Wow.
270, yep. And
Amazing.
we have a couple guests with us. We got Steve and Lance Harrison to my left, right? My right, left. I always mix it up when I'm on the
All
camera.
right, your left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but before we get into talking with those guys about their new project and maybe some of their old stuff, let's go quickly around the bend and see. Steve, you got anything you need to say? Any shout outs? Anything you want to let people know about?
Shout outs, but this is a band. This is kind of a blind buy that I bought. I bought two of their albums. I've really been digging these. It's a UK, I guess you'd call them progressive death, but it's a band called Sludge. I don't know if you know these guys. It's nobody big in the band. It's all new guys with the exception of the drummer. It's the drummer from oh my god, from Black Dahlia is in the band. And man, it's just really killer progressive death metal. John, it's definitely in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
They call it blackened death metal. There's nothing blackened about it. I don't know. I think bands just throw that on there to sound cool sometimes. But some really good UK death metal there. So
right on. Well, I picked up last week. We did our show, and we had a guy named Dale that was one of the people watching and commenting, and he asked us if we had ever heard of Cosmic Cathedral, because I think we were talking prog for a bit there, and no, I hadn't, but I went ahead and grabbed that Cosmic Cathedral. Fantastic prog rock album, and it features Neil Morse. Of course, everyone knows he's like a progressive genius. It's got Chester Thompson from Genesis on drums. And of course, Chester Thompson has been playing with Genesis since Phil Collins started singing, for the band. He was their drummer live. And then Phil Keaggy on guitar. So one of the greatest guitar players of all time, in my opinion. So yeah, I was really freaking stoked to get that. But also, these two got released and came out. So The School of Violence, which is
great record.
Old school 80s crossover thrash metal with what's his name? Carl Gell from
the original
Corrosion
singer
of Conformity on vocals. Mm-hmm. And then it's got Steg Von Heinz on guitar. But yeah, it's just great crossover thrash. And then the Boston band Mass. This is their New Birth album that everybody mistakes this band for a Christian band because the name of the album is New Birth. And then first of all, they're called Mass because they're from Massachusetts. The album is called New Birth because they got screwed by their former record label, which was A&M Records. And it took them 2 years to get free from that label and get onto RCA Records, thus New Birth. So it's got nothing to do with Christianity. I always find it funny because
cross on one of their album covers or on the EP cover too, which probably
it was a gravestone.
It was,
but I mean, come on, songs like watch her walk are about watching a girl's butt as she walks by. I mean,
yeah, as mentioned, you can't always believe the hype. You have to dig deeper.
So, anyhow, this has been remastered by our own Rob Caldwell, and he did a great job on it. And it also includes the one track that was left off the album because the label thought it didn't fit on the album for some weird reason. But anyhow, just thought I'd show those two real quick. But you're up, John.
Okay, I got one thing before the pick of the week, and then we can get into our thing. I picked up a few more hours at the local record store there, County Line Records. Shout out to them. It's really weird. They did this massive record store day thing. There was a big time weekend, hundreds of people waiting in line overnight, blah blah blah, and then it just went dead. And I don't know if it's a combination of school getting out and vacation time or whatever. But anyway, one of the gals that works there is into Queen, and she bought this the Delane Leia demos. I don't know if you saw this on Record Store Day, but it's basically the first demo that Queen ever did. And holy smokes, man, you really need to grab this thing. I was listening to an interview with Greg Beato. He was talking to the guys from Pantera, well, the new reform Pantera, Zach Wilde and Charlie Benani and Rex, and they were talking about how Queen had influences of thrash and heavy metal early on in their career, and you can really hear it in the demo. So anyway, that's not my pick of the week, but it probably could have been. But since she let me borrow the record, I thought I would at least shout it out because it really is that good. You just never know where you're going to find something that's just kind of mind-blowing. So as mentioned, I'm one to keep my keep my ears open and my mind equally as open. But so, are we ready for the pick of the week?
Let's do it.
Yeah, do you need your?
Okay, do the graphics.
There it is.
Carcass
'Cause
Jones.
we don't have a real graphic, so we just do this for now.
Yeah, we just do that. So typically,
we're professionals here.
And for our guests, if they don't know, I do a rock pick and a metal pick, and this is just my opinion, but you can take and use it for what you will. But my rock pick of the week,
Nice.
Van Halen. Fair warning. I've been chatting up a lot of people about this, and some folks don't realize that the first 3 albums were pretty much in the can, minus a few tweaks. But this was this was like when they all got back together and actually started to record something new. And boy, you can really hear the darkness, the heaviness, the frustrations. Some of my favorite songs: "Mean Street," "Push Comes to Shove," "Unchained." If you're not moving after that, and then Sunday Afternoon in the Park and "One Foot Out the Door." I mean, these are all killer Van Halen tracks. And man, I really Van Halen is legendary in my mind. And the stuff that Eddie did was truly amazing and should not ever be forgotten. So Van Halen, fair warning, should be in everybody's collection. And my pick of the week, I had to go California. I had to go SoCal because I knew we had guests. XL.
Oh,
The joke is on you, and this is the reissue. It's got a bunch of extra tracks on it. But we just talked about what was that band, School of Violence, as kind of a crossover thrash thing. I saw XL. I got the chance to actually see XL a few times. In fact, one time I think with Hirax. In Venice Beach or somewhere down there. I used to road trip to Cali about 2 or 3 times a year. And my friend Mikey Bonaventura from a band called Attacks, an Orange County thrash band, we would always take in the local feed. And this was part of that deal, was XL. This is really, really stellar stuff. And if you can find the original, I'm looking for an original pressing, but this is really well done. So XL, the joke's on you, and Van Halen, fair warning. My picks of the week.
Real quick before we go, or before we start, I want to show this too. We were talking about Zeppelin right before we came on. I totally forgot. I just found this after looking for like 15 years at a local record store over the weekend, but finally found a copy of Coverdale Page.
Oh yeah.
I know, which is impossible to get these days. So let's jump into it.
Right on. We gotten quite a few people that are commenting already, so I'm doing my best to keep up with the comments, guys. Sorry if I get a little behind, but all right. Yeah, so let's get into it. So we've got our guests with us. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves to everybody?
Hi, I'm Steve HarXson.
And I'm Lance Harrison. I'm guitars, he's bass and vocals.
Our new band, HarXson.
Yep.
It's an honor to be on here with you guys, man. So thank you for inviting us.
Who's playing
anytime,
drums
man.
for you guys?
And we got Mike Vegas on drums with us.
Okay.
He's me and Lance are here in San Diego during the week, and Mike's up in LA County, Ventura area. So he couldn't be here today, but we're representing for Mike too, you know.
Right on.
Yep. We're getting quite a few comments already. So awesome. If you guys have any comments or questions for these guys as we're talking, go ahead and put them and I'll post them up there for them. So yeah, so let's get into it. Yeah. You guys were in Hirax for what? 13, 14 years?
16 years.
16
years.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit longer because I started working on the demos for Assassins of War in late 2005. And so basically 2006 until 2021, our last 2 shows were 2 pretty much sold out nights at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Nice.
Sweet. Historic venue.
So you guys basically played on, I think I have them on vinyl and CD, but you guys, this is the full length. You guys both played on this one along with a very good friend of the show, Glenn Rogers, is on guitar in this one too.
Yeah,
I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And Glenn is of course in Primal, who just released their it's their 3rd release, but it's an EP, but they released two full lengths in the EP. And then there was the as you just said, the Assassins of War EP, which was
our
what?
first, yeah.
5 songs. And that's got Glenn on it too, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't they
So
pop,
you-
he pops in here pretty regularly.
So
Yeah, he
I
does.
you know,
And then what? Chaos and Brutality was the other one, right?
Yeah, it's another EP. Me and Glenn as well.
Yeah, that's right. Glenn's on that one too. So right on.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Yeah, we talked to to Caton a while back, and he still remembers and I don't know if you do, but I'd be curious if you did, but there was a show in Houston at a place called Walters on Washington, and that was the first time I had seen Hirax, and people were literally hanging from the rafters. I don't know if you remember that. It was a wild night, but anyway, not soon thereafter, they shut the place down and moved it to somewhere else. So it was kind of funny that you guys would play there.
We remember it well because we were doing an interview over on the side, and someone stole our banner from off the stage. We never took it down.
Yeah.
And they stole the banner.
I think we were at the merch booth hanging out and talking to fans, and while no one was looking, someone went up and got a hold of the banner. So
well, I lived down there for a while, and the rumors are flying hot and heavy about who that actually was. So but if you really want me to, I could track it down. But
yeah, you could ask Caton. He probably moved past it by now.
Yeah,
he says probably. John probably knows exactly whose bedroom wall it's hanging on.
It's not hanging at my house. I would cop to that. I would have you guys.
I can vouch for that. I've been to John's museum of a house, and it's not it's not there.
Okay,
nope. John did steal it. So anyhow, well, right on. So I mean, we can talk more about Hirax later because I'm sure you guys can tell us stories from the road and stuff like that. But let's start talking about HarXson first. First of all, the name, kind of a derision of your name, HarXson.
Yeah.
How'd you guys come up with that?
We were just kind of sitting around one day after work, just searching. It's hard to come up with a cool band name, these days. There's so many bands, and it's just hard to come up with a good name, and like, do we call the project HarXson? And that's just our last name. And me and Lance were just joking around, and we just ended up putting an X in the middle of it, and that just stuck. And
because Hirax, HarXson, put an X in the middle, you got HarXson.
Or we call ourselves X-Rax, or what do you call it?
And we earned our X. That's why it's there.
X-Rax. That sounds like a medication that you take to take a crap.
Pretty much, yeah. So
X-Rax.
that was kind of what kind of helped us launch the band. Is once we really decided on a name, that it took a while to figure out what we were going to call it. And when we came up with HarXson, then it was a matter of trying to figure out a logo and get everything together. So thanks to a bunch of friends we had. A lot of people helped us out a lot, and so now here we are today, finally getting closer to releasing some music after a while.
Our new EP is going to be called Can't Kill Us, and the single that's coming out this Friday is called Mata al Diablo, Kill the Devil.
Yep. And I've seen the video for it, and it's hilariously fantastic. If you got to have a sense of humor. If you don't have a sense of humor, well, you're boring. Because I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, man. I called. Actually, they sent me a preview to check out, and I saw the video, and then I texted them back. I'm like, that was awesome. It was hilarious. And then I stopped, and I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't offend him by saying it was hilarious. And I'm like, no, dude, it's all good.
Yeah.
No, we got it. We got exactly what you're saying. I mean, we kind of had to keep it lighthearted,
Right. Yeah, I think you guys all love it, and I would describe HarXson as straight up thrash metal. I mean, if you guys like the albums like this, it's pretty much in the same style, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, I mean, after playing in Hirax for 16 years, and working with Caton, I mean, man, when it comes to metal, he knows metal better than anyone. He's like a walking encyclopedia of metal. He knows more bands and more people. So we learned a lot from him. So Lance did a lot of the writing on all of the albums we're on. And so we're just trying to continue with what we've done and what people know us for. So with our own little twist, Yeah.
For whatever reason, your video's locked up, but we still can hear you.
Yeah,
so
I don't know. We were locked up for a little while, and then now we're black.
We can still hear you.
We can still hear you. So you're up. Now you're gone. Now you're back.
Is it back? Okay, because it's dead on.
Yeah, we see a picture of you. We can hear you, so we're good for now.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
We're black. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So, this is pretty much a continuation. Immortal Legacy was the last Hirax album we did with Hirax, and I wrote all of that music except for Steve's bass solo. So
Right.
pretty much just a continuation of what we've been doing.
Good, because I think it's fantastic. I mean, one of the things that I was telling a couple, actually the label that you guys, I don't know if it's been announced what label you're on yet or not, but I actually don't care if you guys want to leak it. It's fine with me. But I was telling the owner of the label, that you guys were talking about Caton and just giving him the highest praise. And I was like, a lot of people would be pissed because, you guys separated and parted ways with him. But that's not the take you guys had on it. You guys were kind of grateful. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Caton gave us an opportunity, and the thing is a lot of people wouldn't realize, that if it wasn't for us being in Hirax, we wouldn't probably be here today, because that's where people know us from. That platform is kind of what kind of introduced us to kind of keep going with that realm. And yeah, I mean, we had a lot of great years, and like any band, sometimes things just have to change. And I think for Caton, it was time for him to kind of do some different stuff. So he decided that he wanted to move on with a new lineup, and we're just happy that we're able to release some new music finally.
Yeah. I mean, whatever happened, at that point it was kind of mutual, so like surprisingly, through all the lineup we've been through with Hirax, we actually left as friends. So, which is a change as well.
Right.
So why would we say anything bad about him? He's not out there saying nothing bad about us.
Nope, not at all. And he's been on our show several times. And yeah, we actually had you've actually been part of the discussions a few times. And nope, never had a negative thing to say.
Actually, he's never said anything bad about anybody that's been in this band. It's always been positive about all of it. So.
Yeah,
and Hirax is Caton. Caton is Hirax. There wouldn't be a Hirax without Caton. And
right.
We wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for the lineups before us. The original 2 records is what put Hirax kind of on the map, and then we came in after a couple of records before us, and then we just kind of carried the torch, and they're still out kicking ass today. So we're still fans. We've always been fans of the band. And we'll always be fans, and now it's our turn to kind of give people a taste of the HarXson brothers. So
right on. Well, how did you guys end up in Hirax? Was it anything to do with, because I know Glenn Rogers played on the album before you guys came in, which would have been New Age of Terror, I believe. Yeah, and then you guys came in shortly after that, I believe, and I think you guys were actually playing on the tour for New Age of Terror. Were you not?
No. So what happened was, I was next door neighbors with Caton. And I was actually a roadie. I was Glenn and Dave Watson's roadie. I traveled a little bit with Hirax, and then when that lineup broke up, I just was over at Caton's house playing his cheap little acoustic guitar, and he'd be like, "What is that?" I don't know. I'm just playing. Or this is before we had phones that would record, so I still had a flip phone. So then I would just tablature out my little riff so I could remember it, and then come back and work on it later. Then we got, I brought over my amp, borrowed Steve's 8-track, and me and Caton started working on the demos for Assassins of War. And I guess during that time, Glenn had heard that Caton was working with me. So he got in touch with Caton. Next thing you know, Glenn's over having a meeting with us. And then we really started working on Assassins of War with Glenn and me.
Right on.
Pretty much how it started. Steve came over, laid some bass tracks down, and then Glenn came over, and the rest is history.
Right on. Yeah, and you guys, like I said, what you said, 15 or 16 years. That's a long time.
I mean, the funny thing is, we were actually fans of the band. So like Lance said, he was actually roadieing for them. And then I went and saw the New Age of Terror lineup play at a small club in Long Beach called the Prospector, which is a pretty crazy place because it's pretty small, but it was insane there. And so we were fans before we were ever in the band. And then since Lance was friends with Caton already, when that lineup ended, they kind of just brought me in, and then the rest is history. We just started with Assassins of War, and then it just kind of went from there.
You guys have any idea how many shows you play with? Because I know you guys played a lot.
Oh, I have no idea.
We lost track. I mean, the thing is our last 6 years in Hirax, we probably did the most shows that we had ever done, because when Mike Vega came in, because we did a bunch of European tours, and so the European tours, we did so many dates all at once, and we did a lot. Unfortunately, we did a whole lot with Mike Vega in our lineup. So I would almost have to say we were probably one of the longest standing lineups with the most steady,
with a single drummer. Yeah.
Without too many changes, during our time, me and Lance, we went through a few drummers, drummers are kind of crazy, sometimes. So you got to watch out for those drummers, man. I think they beat on stuff all the time. So they,
Steve, you know that you're a drummer. Steve's a drummer up there. So
are you a drummer?
I was a drummer. I haven't touched a drum set in about 15 years, but yeah, I was for about 15, 20 years.
Nice. Well, you can still beat on some, so you're not crazy anymore then.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
He met us in Atlanta on the Pentagram thing, and he started dragging us to every record store in town. And I thought, Steve, we're on a budget here. But yeah, it was crazy times. Atlanta's a great city.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any cities that are more memorable than others that you've toured in? I know South America was part of your gig too. And didn't you do Keep It True once?
Yeah, we did the Keep It True. And actually, that's an album that we're on, the Thrash and Destroy. It's a live album.
And a DVD.
That we did.
Yep,
yeah,
I have that too.
Yeah, so that was the first time we went to Germany. That was, I think, the second time we ever went to Europe with Hirax, and our second time ever to Europe. And then they did that DVD record, so that was kind of cool. And yeah, we loved. That was an amazing time, and we played with Leatherwolf was on the date, so it was pretty sweet.
But as far as a favorite place we've been to or favorite show, I mean, no, they were all great. It's just great. I can't really.
I don't know. But for me doing shows, there was something about playing the European crowds that was different than playing the U.S. crowds.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I mean, playing in, I played a show in Switzerland in front of a few thousand people, and I swear every person knew every word to every song, and we're singing them right up there in front of me.
Matter
of fact, I was sticking the mic in people's faces because they were just singing right along. It was a blast.
Yeah. I mean, of course, all the European stuff is great. What are you doing here?
Sorry,
we're still wondering why we're black on our end.
We can cut you out for a second if you want to just log back in again. I'll bring you back on.
I went on YouTube. So I guess what do I do? Just exit out and go back to the link, and then
I'll remove you from the stage right now. We'll ramble on it for a second, and then just click back on the link, and I'll bring you back in.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
All right. See ya.
Hey Jeff, it's a Martin. It's one of the Martin Road series. The acoustic behind me. I can't remember which one it is. It's got the mahogany top. I can't remember what the sides are, but it's like their mid-tier guitar. I think it was like $1,000 new for the Road.
Nice.
The Road series is like $500 more now. The price has gone way up for some reason.
Tariffs.
Yeah. Well, I bought it. Well, it wouldn't be tariffs. It's an American company.
Oh, well, unless they get the wood from Africa or Canada or Mexico or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know where they get their wood from.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, there they are. Yes.
Worked out perfectly.
Wins again.
Because actually, Jeffrey Waters, who happens to be my brother, he lives in New Jersey.
Oh, cool.
He was asking about the acoustic guitar behind Steve, so we talked about that for a second.
Yeah, that's actually Lance's Jackson, and I got this is our little lair here where we have a lot of our guitars and we write a lot in this room. This is where me and Lance work. But
that's Steve's Fender.
Yeah, Lance. This is Lance's pretty popular guitar. He played this on almost a lot of the Hirax shows all around the world.
That's been on every album I ever recorded.
And Lance has a story about this
guitar right.
he calls
That
it
guitar right
stubby.
there says metal.
This
Yeah, he calls
stubby
it stubby
because of this
because
side.
on this side in Colombia, we got to the airport and they freaking cracked his guitar off. And
They busted it off, and so I have a friend, and we just got
we
an
have a saw.
X-Acto saw, and I sawed it off, and then he rounded it back off and tried to match the color, and that's why
Looks
it looks
pretty good.
looks
Yeah.
kind of green because that's blacker.
Yeah,
Is that one of the '90s Jacksons?
What?
Is that one of the Jacksons from the early '90s?
No, this is an RR24. The ones they were making in Japan for a while. It's single
Oh,
pickup,
okay. Yeah,
single
yeah.
knob. And I have a replacement for it, but I still never fully retired stubby because I mean this guitar, I could probably put it in the case for 10 years and pull it out and it'll still be in tune. And I could throw that case out of an airplane and pick it up and it'd still be in tune.
Yeah, that thing is it's amazing. Yeah, so and for all the stories with this guitar, I mean it's kind of one of our babies and we keep it close to us. So and then this guy here, this was my main touring bass with Hirax that's been all over.
It's
the
a
world
Chris
too.
Beatty
Chris Beatty from Hatebreed signature bass. I have a 5-string Dave Ellison as well, one of the custom his signature basses, which is beautiful too. But me and Lance are both with Jackson. We've been with Jackson for a long time.
I love those early '90s Jacksons.
Yeah,
I think they're some of the best sounding metal guitars of all time. They're still like the Jackson. The guitar player in my first band played a Jackson Kelly Pro, and man, it was just such a great. And he was just here a couple months ago. And he still wishes he wouldn't have sold that. He's been trying to find another one for years, and we're for a long time. So now you can't find them.
It's hard to find some of the older ones. People hold on to them, and I don't know. We're kind of guitar whores. Like we don't really sell any. Like we just put it under the bed. Like
well, we've been endorsed by Jackson for a very long time, and the only problem with that is you get pretty good deals on guitars and. I love guitars, so
he did one of those doesn't like it. I can only fit so many under the bed. Luckily, she lets me hang some on the wall, but it's hard. Too many guitars could be a problem because you can only play so many at a time. But we love them.
I had to work out a deal where if I get a new guitar, I have to buy her something fancy too. So that
there you go.
Really good.
That works out. Yeah, got to keep the wife happy.
It's like working a record.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
I think we all know about that.
Yeah, that's
except for Carcass. Carcass is a newlywed.
Yep, and happy as a little. Well, what do they say? No, I can't say happy as a little girl, but I couldn't be happier. I'm happy.
And newly retired too, right?
Yeah, newly retired. That's right. I've got lots more time to do lots more cool stuff, and hopefully I can. Scott had mentioned about. T-shirt design or doing something, but I'm always happy to do that. I know that we had initially talked about doing some album cover stuff, but it looks like you got that handled, which is cool. I'm more of a.
I know we talked to you about it when I talked to you a while back, and you were just trying to get retired first, so you weren't quite there yet. But now that you have a little more free time, we'll have to talk to you about some, definitely
of course.
Stuff.
Happy to do it too, because I'm. You don't realize how much you actually were doing until you stop doing it, and then you're like, what am I going to do with all this free time? And I've found out ways to kind of plug in here and there and at least stay moving, and so it's been a real lesson in adaptation. But like the 2 week, like if I hadn't been retired, I couldn't have gone on that 2-week stint with Pentagram, which was a real learning. That had some real learning curve to it, and but it goes to show you just how much work actually goes into getting like HarXson from point A to point B and point B to point C. It is a lot of work, and as I mentioned on one of the shows, people really should take a week and go on tour with their friends or whatever and just see what it's like. And the next time they go see a band from out of town, they will go buy a T-shirt or a record or put a little extra money in the tip jar because it is brutal. There's no glamour. There's no there. It's like I told my wife. I said there were ounces of fun amidst tons of grueling hard work. And that's the most accurate way I could put it. But was it worth it? Sure, it was worth it. It was like I said, you get to see new people every night, new places, hear new music from different bands. Like this band here, this Chained to the Bottom of the Ocean. They were kind of a bucket list band. I thought I'll never see those guys. They're so obscure. And there they were at the Maryland Death Fest. And they went on 2 bands before Pentagram did. And I'm like, how lucky did I get for that? And so you just and these guys right here, Hans Condor, check them out, man. They're wild and good people. And they were on our last 3 shows. And without them, I would have been stranded by myself loading the trailer.
Oh man!
But
awesome,
anyway,
man.
But you know. That's
Actually,
the beauty
without
of
them, we would have gotten screwed in Atlanta because it started raining literally the minute we finished loading the trailer.
Yeah,
and had they not been there,
three healthy guys that just really wanted to go.
Because it wasn't like a little rain; it was like dumped.
No, it was a deluge. It was a toad choker, as they say in Texas. And but see, you get to meet people like that, and that to me, I love interaction. Part of what I used to do, I was in the landscape and irrigation business. And part of what I loved doing was not only creating a new environment for people, but that interaction with them, working with them, picking their brain, having them pick mine. And we come up with this great concept. It's not unlike writing a record or coming up with a piece of art. You kind of figure out what direction they want to take, and then you run with it. And then you come to some accord, and then you create something really cool. So, but man, hard work. You guys that tour, and even just doing a local gig, I know takes a lot. Steph's brother, my wife's brother, has a band called Creeper, and they work so hard. They practice 4 or 5 times a week, and they are not afraid to play. They will go and play a little 50-seat pub, or they will play an arena. That doesn't matter to them. They just want to play. But it's a production.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Speaking of, hard work and stuff, we're friends with a lot of bands, and we have a lot of friends. And I just saw today a post that Extorter and Hatred, they're playing tonight, I think in El Paso, Texas, but they're going to be here in San Diego tomorrow at this club called Soda Bar. So imagine that long drive.
Yeah,
leaving there to be here. Those guys are freaking. That's hard work, and that's dedication and maniacs.
Yeah, they were here Saturday, and I wondered where they. I think they went to Austin or San Antonio on Sunday. But El Paso. Think about this: if I leave right now, and drive 10 hours, I won't be to El Paso, and I live in Dallas, Fort Worth area, so it's. It's almost 700 miles to El Paso. So and we had a couple of long drives, like from Springfield, Missouri to Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And we were there. We had to be there. And you know how the Milwaukee Metal Fest is. You've played that shit.
We did it one year. Yep.
You know how strict they are about timing and being there and whatever. And so there was no room for error. I mean, we packed up in Springfield. And the bus got rolling, man. And because we had to be in Milwaukee because we had a gig that night, and we went on, I think, at 4 or 5 o'clock. All I know is they started 3 minutes early, and it started a firestorm backstage because they were, so strict. I said, don't worry. They started a little early, but you go tell Bobby Liebling to stop. I'm not going to do it. But anyway, at least they stopped on time. So that was the good part about it.
Yeah. That was one thing. We learned, with Hirax, Caton is always very respectful of the bands coming on. So he was always, we'd always keep an eye on the clock. So he tried to wrap it up, in time. So I think people always appreciated that because, every band wants to squeeze an extra couple minutes in, but you don't want to screw the guys coming on after you either. But so he was always real good about that.
People have road crew, you have people putting Yeah, every gig we ever played with Hirax, very rarely, except for when we were on tour, we'd show up, get to do a sound check. And then most of the time it was just, we're there, gear sitting there. We have 15 minutes to set all our stuff up, line check, boom, go backstage, let your hair down, and you're on.
Yeah. It was just pretty much go time, so
that's the way it was in every band I was in too. It was like set up, go. Yep.
Yeah.
So all this
Don't have
talk about touring, what is the plan for HarXson once they release a record?
Well, so the most important thing right now is for us just to release some music and just kind of start getting stuff out, and thanks to Scott and Bill, we're gonna license it to No Life Till Metal to help us release the record, once it's done. Bill Matoyer is mixing and mastering the record now.
Produced, mixed, and mastered.
Yeah, and he just sent us another kind of rough track yesterday of the title track, Can't Kill Us, and it's sounded really killer. I just talked to him earlier today. Me and Lance have to call him a little bit after this meeting, and we're going to send him some notes, maybe a few little changes. But the goal is first to release some music and let people hear us, because no one knows our sound yet. They know us from our past, but then they'll get to see where we're at, and this is my first project where I'm singing too. So the goal is to try to play gigs, too.
Of course.
Touring, we don't know yet about touring, because first we got to get out there and get, bang our heads a little, get our necks are they're weak right now. We have our necks aren't very strong right now because we haven't banged enough.
But the main goal is once again attempted world domination.
I like it.
Right on.
Yeah. So
hopefully start playing some local gigs too with because it'd be nice to see you guys playing with Primal or Anger's Art or Evil Dead or
maybe Ruthless.
Well, we're hoping.
Sammy's been talking to me for a while. Anytime I want, call him up. Yeah. Boom.
That's one of our goals. Is once we release the EP, we want to play a couple local shows for sure, trying to get out there, so kind of get our feet wet again. So we'll probably play like an LA show and hopefully play maybe here in San Diego and then
Orange County
or wherever, we're open to play wherever people will want us to play, so that's kind of the goal. But first we got to get some music released, because no one wants to see a band if they don't know what you sound like yet, just a bunch of goofballs.
Well, then again, even if you don't like our music, you see us play and you're like, oh, those guys are really putting on a show. So that's one thing with me and this guy. We got like this certain thing on stage, which is really cool. And we just want to get out and play live again. This sitting here waiting kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So mention again when the album is actually going to be released.
We don't have a release date as of yet. We're still in mixing and mastering, except for the single is coming out first.
Okay.
And so
it's coming out. Isn't the single coming out at 666 or something like that?
Yeah, the Mata El Diablo comes out on YouTube. The world premiere is at 6:66 a.m. Friday, June 13th. And the 6:66 is actually kind of funny, standard hell time, all that. It's really 7:06 a.m. But
so pretty much the video, we're going to release it on Friday the 13th, pretty much at 12:01 a.m. It's going to be live. It's set on YouTube to premiere. And I don't know, it's hard to hold back so much, but it's such a cool day, Friday the 13th. Why not release a music video, Mata El Diablo, on, Friday the 13th? And it's only a few more days, so I think it'll be worth the wait.
But the answer to your question is that, we're not going to rush. We're not going to rush the master and, let him take his time with it, because like the roughs that we've already got, all the roughs, basically just what's on tape right now already sounds so killer, and everything's still in mono. Nothing's really mixed. It's just raw tape. And it sounds great. So let Bill take his time with it and make it even better.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then soon us and Scott will have some news.
Okay, because I'm impatient. I need thrash.
I know, man. I can see your collection's amazing. Both you and Scott, and I know, I'm sure you too, Steve, got some crazy
Steve
stuff. I see all your vinyl.
Yeah, Steve needs to turn his camera. All his stuff is like
Oh yeah, yeah. So I know you guys are.
He's got a whole
some of
wall
the
behind him with-
truest.
All you guys got way too much time on your hands and too much money in your wallets.
No, I
Oh,
finally
we have
have
no
the
money in
time I
our
need.
Well,
wallets.
no money anymore.
Well, you're broke.
Wallets.
Yeah, no, but that's quite a collection though. So yeah, we can't wait to put our record on your shelves eventually.
Yeah.
You know? And thanks to Scott, for working with us. He's helping us to kind of to get going in that direction. But like Lance said, we just want to wait for Bill to let everything marinate and get it, and it won't be long now, when you hear the new song coming out Friday, that will give you a taste of kind of the direction
The
of everything.
production.
Okay.
Yeah, what we're gonna.
I've got my mouthpiece and neck brace waiting.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you might need a chiropractor.
You
so.
might need to go
Yeah.
to our merch store. We might have to put some neck braces in our merch store.
There you
HarXson
go.
logo on the front.
Yeah, man, get
with the big
HarXson. Absolutely.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, that's
Always
exciting.
looking for new merch ideas.
Yeah. We'll be, talking to you too. Like when we are ready to play a show, you help us do the flyer layout and stuff like that. I seen some of your
All
flyers
in.
are amazing. We were just because we just had a podcast with Tanner and Les Poppet on a Saturday here.
Madras.
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 And
There it is.
and Tanner brought a bunch of a lot of their music that I've had. He's always hooked us up a few CDs and some shirts over the years, but I finally got their whole collection now. And he was telling me how awesome it was working with both you guys as well, because you did a lot of drawings and stuff for him, John, and you too, Scott. So
Yeah, we worked with we put out their last new full length album. Unfortunately, now we have better promotion and way better distribution. So, I mean, when we did his album was 3 years ago. We were a pretty new company and we were doing everything ourselves and having to ship we had some people in Europe that were carrying our stuff, but it was just a handful of places here and there. Now you can get our stuff and you can get our stuff on Best Buy, and wow. Amazon, and you can get it on I'm trying to think of the name of Amoeba Records, and you can get it at towerrecords.com and freaking Walmart. That kind of places. So
people still need to buy the physical product. We had interviewed Dave Sanchez from Havoc, and he was saying that they have to get like 30,000 streams on Spotify to make what they make on one T-shirt sale.
Wow.
So
Yes.
go buy a shirt, man. Go buy the.
Yeah.
We want to hold that thing in our hands. The download's cool to be portable as a pre-order or something like that. Because I've been doing that lately. I'll buy the tape, it'll give you a pre-order, like say on Bandcamp. But I want something I can hold it in my hand. I love to look at the artwork that's inspiring to me, and to me, listening to music should be an experience, not just background noise. So I'm ready. I can't wait. You guys are.
And I agree. The good thing is now, that once we finally release this first track that we've been waiting for, now we're going to finally be able to start sharing more stuff. So there'll be more cool stuff coming in the next couple of weeks. And as we keep working with Scott, he's helping to dial stuff in. And so, so it's exciting. And we could tell you guys are definitely true metal collectors, and we love that too, holding a vinyl in your hand or just having the product in your hand versus just listening to it on the computer or headphones. So nothing like the sound of vinyl hitting the needle hitting the vinyl. It's just amazing sounding. So
we had Caton on the show 2 or 3 times now, and at least 2 of the times, if not all of the times, we end the show because the show's an hour long, and then we end up staying on another hour afterwards, talking about record collecting and bands, and that's I mean, we're just fanatics about that kind of stuff. But anyhow, we have a question. Did you guys ever play the Stone Pony down at the Jersey Shore?
No, never. We actually, unfortunately, we only played New York, I think maybe 3 or maybe 4 times in Hirax during our years in the band. So.
Closest we've been to Jersey.
Well, that's pretty close, actually. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, so
right across the river, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, and I used to go and see all my shows either in New York or I'd see them in Philadelphia because it's right in the middle. It's like a half an hour drive to Philadelphia and 40-minute drive to New York City. So and that's only because of all the traffic. So
Yeah,
but yeah.
No, it's crazy. One of our very first shows we did with Hirax was actually in New York. It was in Queens, the Metal Kingdom.
It's some
or
underground
Yeah, it was
bomb shelter place.
pretty
man.
crazy. Like the first show we did, we went to New York, and then after that, we did some local stuff.
We went to Duff's.
We
played the North Six. I don't know if that place is still around.
In Brooklyn. We played somewhere right not far from where Duff's is.
Right on. And our standard question you guys are familiar. You got to be familiar with Spinal Tap, right? This is Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
If you're in a band, you have to be.
Yeah.
Share a Spinal Tap moment from on the road, or it doesn't even have to be on the road. Just with, it doesn't even have to be with Hirax. Any band you've been in or any situation.
Well, I don't know if this is really Spinal Tap, but Peter Steele, I was standing. I smoke cigarettes, so I'm always out front of the club smoking a cigarette, and this giant man walks up, long black hair, in scrubs, and he goes up to the ticket window, and he turns over and looks at me, and he goes, "I sure hope they take food stamps." And he's getting ready to come into our show. We played with Anal Cunt. That was pretty wild, to hanging out with Seth and those guys. That's not really a Spinal Tap moment, though. What are we looking for?
I think you said Peter Steele. That makes it a Spinal Tap moment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
My wife loves Typo Negative. She was in a company that actually toured with some of those bands in that of that same ilk, and I'm not supposed to say too much, but anyway, she a big Peter Steele fan. She is, and so that makes it a Spinal Tap moment, especially the fact that he asked if they take food stamps.
He was asking me.
Like something he would say.
He was asking me. I was standing right there by the ticket thing, and he looks at me and he goes, "I sure hope they take food stamps."
For me, kind of a Spinal Tap moment is just like, for us, we're doing the video, most people that do a video, you're not really playing live, we're playing to a track. So you're kind of lip syncing or faking it and everything. So that's kind of like a Spinal Tap moment. Like I'm trying to play and sing the song and, I'm really faking it.
Well,
and
once you guys see the video, you'll see a couple Spinal Tap moments.
Those are going to be.
Scott knows what we're talking about.
Those will be our Spinal Tap moments, I think, for sure.
I've shared a few before Spinal Tap moments from my band, but I guess share another one real quick because we were playing in a club. We were playing on a street that's a bunch of different clubs all together, and we were playing in this one club, and the club next to us was Leon Wilkinson. What is his name? Leon. I forgot his freaking name. Classic rock artist Leon Russell was playing next door to us. So we get on stage and we do we had the full stacks and everything. We had 2 guitar players and bass, and we're loud. I mean, we're always loud. And so we get up there and we start doing our thing and swinging our hair around and doing them because we're a thrash band too. And we're like 2 songs in, and the owner of the club that we were playing in comes in. He goes, apparently she owned the club next door to Leon Russell asked if you guys would turn your amps down. You're too loud. And we're like, yeah, sure. So our guitar players, go over and pretend to turn the amps down. They just do the fake turn thing down, and we can start playing again. But it was, they came and asked like 2 or 3 more times. You can't ask the band. He wasn't even playing at the time.
So yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
That's one of the stories. I've got tons of those kind of silly stories though.
Yeah.
Another question we ask is, what are your influences?
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, man, we grew up with classic rock, like Maiden, Priest, Scorpions, so many, all of Black Sabbath, obviously. But as far as when we decided to start playing, for me, it was Steve Harris of Iron Maiden for bass playing. Yeah. And then Cliff Burton, for me, and then Lance.
Dude, I love everybody. When I saw Angus Young, that was the ticket. That was the key for me. And then it bled into so many. I couldn't even tell you really, if I was going to say my favorite guitar player of all time, I'd say Randy Rhoads. But then there's still so many that are right there with him in my heart. You know what I mean? It's people that touch my heart with the notes, like Shanker, man. Shanker, Sweet Notes. That guy's just got. There's so many though. I can't.
That's
really,
a hard question because it's hard to just name one because we love everybody.
From Skinner to Nugent to Maiden to all the thrash guys. Like Gary Holt is like my favorite guitar player right now. Gary Holt for sure.
He can write a riff, no doubt.
Gary,
he's a monster. Just
all the shows we played with Exodus, and just to sit there and get to see Gary, like this close.
We got lessons every night. We played with them. You just sit there and watch. And
another guy, Mark Gallagher.
Yep. How about that? Yeah, he's freaking Raven are awesome, man.
Yeah.
They're those guys. I saw them. We've seen them twice. Actually, I went out to Atlanta and saw them with Steve, and there was maybe 50 people there. Steve.
Yeah.
It was.
They did not care, man. They put on a show like there was 2,000 people there, man. They were awesome.
We've talked about this before. They've got the drummer from Fear Factory, and he's so fast that they're playing as fast, if not faster, than they did back in the 80s.
Yeah.
For a long time, they slowed down, and it was mainly because their drummer was sick, especially
Joe.
Joe was sick, he had a lot of problems, and he was slowing down, so their music was slowing down. And now what's the guy's name?
Killer, right? I know his
Mike
Killer or.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Heller, Mike Heller.
Heller, sorry, the pronunciation. Yeah, he's a beast on drums, though.
They're so good now that he's in the band. I mean, they're playing the stuff fast, if not faster, as they played it back in the day. And so they live pretty close to here. They're only a few hours away from here. Are they South Carolina, Scott, where they live?
I believe so, yeah.
Either North or South Carolina where they live now. So they're here twice a year, and I go every time they come. And it's always
that was a blast.
Yeah,
then I saw them
go wrong with seeing a Raven show.
We got to tour with those guys in Europe, and they're just so nice. Like,
oh yeah,
they're of course headlining, and we're co-headlining. And like after they get their stuff up, I see John helping Anna hang our banner up over their banner. You know what I mean? Like John's a sweetheart. Mark, just great guys, really nice.
And they hang out too. They hung out for a good hour after the show. So there was a guy that had like 15 records with him. They sat there, signed every one.
Signed everything, yep.
Yeah, they're always awesome, yeah.
Yep. And they, gosh, I saw them maybe 2 years later, and I saw them actually in Southern California, in LA, and they were playing with Riot Act, and again, nobody there. I mean, it was empty, that club. The stage sucked. They were basically on the floor in this club they were playing in, and the sounds sucked. It was basically their amps and their equipment providing the sound for the club. But they still put on a great show. They were fantastic. And I mean, they were just super nice guys too, man. They loved the crowd that was there, and they talked to everybody and hung out. And yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say about the Raven guys. Really? Hey, one more question though. Do you guys know, I'm sure you might remember, do you remember Avenger of Blood?
Yeah. Shannon.
Yep. Shannon said, don't forget about playing Vegas.
Oh, yeah, right. We definitely, man. We'll have to talk to him about getting us.
He's
he's watching, man. We're kind of new
watching right now.
We're kind of new to this, so I don't know how to typing in or answering. But thank you for bringing that up. But we'd love to anywhere we could play. For us will be an honor just to get to share our music with people and just hope people like to headbang with us. So
actually, I think that's another story from pre-Hirax. I met Shannon and the guys when I was roadieing.
Yeah.
I was on the road with Hirax for the that lineup before Assassins.
Right on.
New Age of Terror. Anyway,
New Age of Terror lineup. Yep.
Questions?
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else?
Shannon just gave you the metal horns.
Back at you, Shannon.
Nope. That's we got a lot of people watching, but not getting a lot of questions at the moment, which is unusual. Usually I can't keep up with them. So, but that's all right. We're almost out of time anyhow. Is there anything else you guys want to say? I know you're going to be announcing, you're going to be showing the cover art soon and announcing who the cover artist is and all that kind of stuff in the near future.
Steve, we can announce who it is right now.
Yeah, well, for the cover art for the Can't Kill Us, we were able to contact Ed Ripka, so he did the cover art for the EP album cover. So we'll be letting that come out here probably pretty quick here, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So
only a few people have seen it, and there's one of them sitting right there.
I think I've been sending little by little. I have to start sending you stuff, Scott, to do your magic on. But yeah, that's an exciting thing to work with him because he did at least one of the Hirax album covers when we were in the band too. So
yeah, this is one of his covers here, I believe.
Yes, it is. That's the one.
Yeah, we have a poster on the wall in our other office. It's pretty cool.
Actually, this one's signed by you two.
Oh, awesome, man. That's
Glenn.
good.
Glenn's. I've been a friend with Glenn for, gosh, 3 decades now. So he got it signed for me from you guys back in the day when this one first came out.
Hey,
So-
that's another guy I got to give props to. So when I first joined Hirax, we first joined. Glenn taught me a lot. Glenn taught me a whole hell of a lot, and he's another very underrated guitar player. Glenn's great and a great guy. So
Yeah,
shout
he's a
out to
very
Glenn.
good guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He usually watches the show, but I don't think I haven't seen him on today. But you can. Some people are asking where can they see the video.
So it's going to be we have our new YouTube channel. It's at HarXson 666, and we're going to be posting the link on our Facebook and social media pages. I'll
find the link right now and I'll post it for you guys.
It's just going to show Premiere, and then it'll give you like a little counter or something.
It's set up right now on the Premiere, and I've never done it before, so I hope it works fine. I'll be up late that night making sure it goes out. But I have it set to come out at 12:01 a.m. on Friday the 13th, so that way the people in Europe or everywhere else can watch it. And then as everyone here in the States is waking up, hopefully they'll get to see it maybe before work or on a lunch break or something. But
it's going to be out everywhere, so it'll be great. And then we also got the streaming or the downloadables. I guess we got on DistroKid, and so all that's going to be available on the same day. So and then I guess it's just wait for the rest of the EP to come out, but we'll probably give put another single out, or a lot more teasers that are better once this first piece comes out,
And,
So you have a Bandcamp?
We'll get the video up on the No Likes of Metal channel too.
You guys have a Bandcamp set up yet?
Not yet. That's one of the next things. Tanner was helping us over the weekend, and he said we got to get that going. So that's something we got to get on right away.
But our the official website is HarXson.com, and that is the pronunciation for the band, HarXson. So just type in HarXson.
Yeah.
Type it in, but don't say it.
Yep. And then what else do we have? We have Instagram. I'm not sure what that one is. And we have Facebook.
The Instagram's at HarXson 666 on Instagram. And so we'll be posting the link on all those. And thanks to you, Scott, too, for helping to kind of, help us get it out there too, and I'm sure you guys will.
And pretty soon we'll have merch up on our the HarXson.com. We'll have our merch page up and running pretty soon as well.
Yeah, we have a big cartel page set up, but we haven't really launched the store yet because the first time we made merch, basically I didn't make enough, so all our friends and family pretty much had bought everything for us before I got a chance to put it up for sale. So now we got to repress some stuff, but the cool thing is now we have some better artwork to work with too. But like Lance is wearing that HarXson shirt. We'll have just some logo shirts probably available, like hopefully pretty soon. Just to get out, especially for you diehard guys. We had a few hats made too.
I got one of those.
Yeah, and we ran out. Like I think I have two left.
Yeah,
after this weekend, I think I have two. But we're gonna be launching some more stuff, and I think Scott said he has a connection for some merch people too, maybe. So we'll be talking. So
right on.
Cool.
Yeah,
well, we definitely appreciate you guys coming on. That hour went really quick.
I know, man. Thank you for inviting us to be part of it, man. And we, as the song, we'll do it again. Once the song gets out there.
If you guys will have us, we'll do it again.
You're part of the crew now. Of course, you have to come back.
All right.
Yep. Awesome. I mean, you guys, what this channel is it's just a bunch of metalheads talking about music. I mean, when we're not having bands on, we just sit here and we talk about, have topics. What's the best Van Halen record? That just stuff like that. Who do you like better, David Lee Roth, or that kind of crap?
Yeah.
Motorhead or Metallica, that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So but yeah, we you guys are always welcome on. If you have a topic, you just let us know. If you want to come on, just let us know. You're always welcome. So
awesome, man. Thank you,
sure.
Scott.
You know, maybe what we could do is you know, I know we already talked to Tanner, and when we're ready to drop the EP, maybe we could do a little exclusive with you guys, you know, and let you guys get in on all the first announcement of stuff.
That would be very cool. Please,
Sounds good
let's
to me.
do that.
All right. Well, you guys. Well, first of all, we end the show with Metal Will Prevail. But before we do that, I posted a link to the HarXson.com website. You guys can find it on all the channels that this thing is running on. I also posted it to their YouTube channel. A few of you already said you've subscribed, so that's good.
Thank you.
But you can find Steve on YouTube at Harmless Rebel 868. Anywhere else, Steve?
It's also on Instagram. I think it's harmless_rebel.
Yep. You can
Correct.
find John on Instagram at Carcass John Art. He is also on
128 DB Rock. In fact, as soon as I can play a song, you'll be top of the order for Triple Thrash Thread, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I'm following you too already, so I got to make sure to get you on my page too, Steve. I don't know if we have you yet, but we will soon.
I can send you a link. And
then
you can
awesome.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do have another little, we haven't told anybody, but so this version of the Mata is just for the video. The version that's going to be on the EP is going to have a special
surprise
intro and an outro on it that I think everyone's going to love.
Right on.
Right on.
Looking forward to it.
Sorry.
Well, you can find me on That's no worries. You can find me on Instagram at No Life to Metal. You can find me on YouTube under No Life to Metal, or just search Scott Waters, and I'm easy to find. Facebook, I'm all over the place. So, but we appreciate you guys being here, and that's it. So for episode number 270 of the Metal Roundtable, Metal Will Prevail. This is where I leave you all hanging and looking silly. So,
yeah, thank you guys.